What is the map going to be for game number 4, sir?
It's going to be Jungle Basin, which I'm really excited about because we haven't had Metalopolis yet. Some of the more standard maps have also been avoided. It's been Delta Quadrant and Jungle Basin so far, so I'm hoping something crazy happens in the last game, like Shakura's Plateau is one of my favorite TVT maps to watch.
Oh, that'd be a treat. But he's got to get past BlUr. BlUr, of course, got to get past Sjow here. So TVT to begin. Are our players ready?
Well, BlUr actually, as he has done after every single other game, is just taking a break. He's just stepping away from his computer, walking around a little bit, coming back, just needs to ease up. And now he's finally here, gives us the word W-E-R-D, straight thuggin' BlUr, giving us the awesome spelling. So he says, I'm red, yo, which no doubt is the Korean yo, to be polite. And it looks like both players are ready. I'm going to ask both players just for the double confirmation to make sure that everything is all and good and well in the world.
Get rid of
given the ready.
Stowaways popping in the lobby.
That's actually a good term for it. Whenever a player pops into a tournament game, just like, any chance I can observe? It's a stowaway.
It's a stowaway.
And then we make them walk the plank.
Peace.
That is just right-click, remove from lobby. BlUr says 1 sec, tripping out. I think he is just blown away that he is one game away.
How is that psychologically for Sjow, too? Right? Because you're like, oh, I should be winning this tournament.
Yeah, that
BlUr is a player. He's like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I need to calm down a little bit. That's got to play into the mental game of Sjow a little bit, I've got to believe.
Yeah, I would probably say that confidence is the second most intimidating thing when playing against an opponent. Happiness is the #1 most intimidating thing. Because in Zhow's position, let's just do the spawning position first. We have Dignitas Sjow, and the top left is the blue Terran, and in the bottom right we have BlUr as the red Terran. If you're playing against someone who's just sort of steely and quiet and stoic, you think to yourself, all right, it's just me against myself, really. If I'm playing against someone like Liquid Tyler, who though he's confident, very quiet player, very focused player tournaments, you go, okay, just going to play my own game. But if you're against someone like BlUr, who everyone thinks you're supposed to beat, and BlUr's like, dude, I beat him. Oh my God, I'm 1 game away. Yes. Oh, I gotta walk around. I'm tripping out. You just think to yourself, why am I losing now?
Right. Right, and it has this psychological impact on you. Some players can just shrug it off and say, whatever, I'm sort of letting this guy beat me, and that helps them. It's the motivation that they need. In other cases, it could be incredibly detrimental. So we're going to actually, from BlUr, have a gas open.
I actually like that play quite a bit. One of the best parts about opening up very, very fast gas is the fact that you get your factory so quickly. So a lot of times, if people do that delay timing when they do a 2 barracks cheese opening, you have a Hellion out very, very quickly, and it allows you to deal with it a little bit more handily. In the meantime, looks like usual barracks timing from Sjow.
I want to add, BlUr obviously is going into each game going, okay, I think I'm going to try this particular build. What do you think so far about what he's shown in terms of his builds versus Sjow?
Well, actually in every single game, they have been huge attack-focused builds, but not cheese.
Right.
As we saw in Game 2, I think is the best example of BlUr's transitioning, where he did Marine Hellion Medevac into Banshee with Cloak, into Marine Medevac Tank with Siege. And Sjow, with the amazing, amazing defense in that game, managed to stay alive and eventually win, but it makes a player like BlUr so intimidating to play against, because you just always feel like you're about to be against the attack that could lose you the entire game. We do see BlUr getting that orbital command now, getting a Marine, could be going for the very fast Tech Lab again. Yeah, it looks like he's going to love to go for that ultra-quick starport again.
Yep, and he did delay his orbital just a little bit to get that factory down, but as you can see, not even started over here for Sjow. Instead, he puts that Tech Lab on, and we have a Reaper being made from him. 1 Marine out as well, and SCV going to go down to possibly expand quickly, and he is, so he's just going to 1 racks expand and keep on keeping on, getting ready for what BlUr might be throwing at him.
And I do think that this is going to be a very good opening for Sjow in this position. He's going to go right back to building a whole bunch of more barracks. The general idea is that if you go for an early expand, you don't have time to tech up to get all that fancy stuff. You just already delayed for so long, so you just rely on the lower tech, easier to get units, the barracks units. to help you stay alive and put pressure back on. There's the Reaper popping out right now. It's going to get a great spot on what's going on, and really, Sjow going to have an easy time throwing down a bunker. But oh no! Hellions lose to Reapers, an interesting fact that many players make extensive use of. And there's the scout. Did he end up seeing anything? Oh no! Sjow only saw the barracks, so he does not know that this exact play is coming up again. He is getting some Marauders. He is getting Stim. Let's see if Sjow is going to have enough troops to hold off. He should. He's beginning to get more and more Marines now.
Command center is nearing completion for Sjow, getting that free base up, no problem. We've got another Hellion making his way out, checking the Xel'Naga towers, and did lose that Hellion, but stopped the Reaper essentially from scouting his base. Meanwhile, still on 1 gas, while Sjow is at the same. And he's got a nice little force here, a couple Marines and a Marauder. So what is he going to decide to do with it? I think it could be pretty even. BlUr decides to go.
It looks like this Marauder from Sjow getting a little bit of a hint that something's coming. But in the unit counting station, we see it's 5 Marines, 1 Banshee, 3 Hellions against not the biggest force for Sjow. Oh, but it's rapidly swelling as those barracks are really starting to kick into gear. And this might actually be a nightmare for BlUr to deal with. He's going to move up the ramp in just a second.
And here he goes. We've got, of course, the Banshee and the Hellions out front first. And they're going to go after this first tech lab. That'd be huge. It's got Stim, but then no, is he going to go for it? Oh my God,
it looks like
no.
He's advancing farther forward. He's roasting these Marines on the right side. If he can pick off all the Marines, the Banshee can do serious damage. And there, he's finally killed off all the Marines. Now the Hellions are swinging around the backside. What a powerful push by BlUr again. And the SCV's on the run, but Sjow does have good production coming up. He just has to not lose all of these Hellions, or all these SCVs to the Hellions.
And we are going to see Stim finishing up here. He wasn't able to take out that tech lab quite quick enough, but BlUr's Banshee has just been doing devastating damage here. All that's left is these Marauders. Another Banshee coming on in, and these Marauders are just going to get eaten alive. He can continue to reinforce with these Hellions coming in from the back. A few Marines are out, but I do believe that these Banshees will clean those up quite nicely.
And in the meantime, it looks like we have a turret going down somewhere for Sjow. There it is, going down in the main. More roasting from these Hellions. This is such a beautiful push by BlUr, doing insane damage yet again. Sjow now finishes the turret, but look at BlUr just tearing through Sjow at all sides. That Stim upgrade is done, but the Marines are falling just a little too quickly.
Yeah, and you know, even though we have production, there it is.
Unbelievable.
BlUr is going to cause certainly the upset of the tournament. Your thoughts?
That was amazing. I mean, I'm shocked. I mean, BlUr did win those games with early pushes every single time, but we have hints to his transitioning ability. So, I mean, I'm very impressed by BlUr because Sjow did not play bad at all. Yeah. In the last game, it's one of those examples of, yeah, sometimes you just have to build a bunker against that sort of play. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more careful with your Reaper to spot that kind of play. I am just blown away at BlUr's micro, his execution of those early game builds. I'm really excited to see him play long games in the semis.
And he is freaking out right now. I mean, he is straight up probably just like freaking out, going crazy. His APM just went to like 900.
It went to 110.
Yeah.
Lightning fast for BlUr.
Oh my God. So congrats to BlUr and VT. Unfortunately, Sjow, who did put a good showing out during this tournament, going through a lot of individuals. And also, who did he beat in round 1? I believe that was Og, of course.
Yeah.
That was just a couple games ago. So we're going to be going on to our next quarterfinal, round of 8 matchup. I believe we're going to be seeing In Control and Stahlife soon, but let's take a look at the brackets before we hop to our break, stage the next game, and get started. We should know now at least one of our semifinalists, of course, that being VT BlUr. Next up is going to be EG In Control versus Nova Stahlife. And still, we have no news. Whatever is the mystery surrounding Sorcery and LG Pain User, I do not know. It's happening
going on
right now.
All right, great. So it does look like Sorcery versus LG Pain User is, in fact, coming up right now. So that's good news because that does mean that we will have 3 full quarterfinal matches to cast.
Yeah. It's happening. Yeah, right. So we are unfortunately not doing the sorcery pain user game, but we will be doing the root slush versus whoever wins that game. But coming up next, I believe EG in control taking on Starlife, a PVT. Also, that of course down below will be a ZV random or a ZVT.
Yeah,
of course, kind of putting the chips on pain user, but you never know. We'll have to see. So guys, we're going to be taking a quick break. When we come back, you ready to see some in control?
Dude, I'm pumped, man. He's already shown some really wide variety in his early PVT, and again, I just desperately want to see his late game because it's so solid, as we saw in the first game he played today. Excited
to go forward as we've got 2 more quarterfinal matches coming at you here for the EG Masters Cup, brought to you by MSI Notebook. Don't forget to also check out the online coverage at G4TV.com. I'm DJ Wheat.
And I am Day9.
And we'll be back in just a couple of minutes for more StarCraft 2 action. Don't go away.